Today on Drawbli.
We are talking about how Starbucks is the worst place to draw.
What? Hey, I'm Ben.
And I'm Abby.
And we are self-taught artists documenting our journey of learning to draw, which is of course better with friends.
So click that subscribe button if you are new around here and share your artwork on Instagram with the hashtag Drawbli.
Abby, how can Starbucks be the worst place to draw?
Oh,
There's a lot of places out there.
There's the coffee shop sounds.
I love the coffee shop sounds.
The nice conversations going on.
I love the nice conversations.
And the sunshine.
I love the sun.
And the coffee smells.
No, I do love that too.
And the things to see. Okay, you got me. It's a meta joke. It's not the worst place to inhabit to draw. It just wasn't a good subject for me to draw this one time.
I mean, this is looking pretty good. So
Thank you.
Why?
Well, I will tell you why.
Explain your quote meta joke.
Okay, Starbucks, not the worst place to draw. Just a silly joke. But I didn't do that good a job. Why?
Why didn't you do a good job?
Because I have not drawn a lot of environments.
Oh.
I am basically starting over in Drawbli.
So, this sounds like, have you ever heard the phrase, a bad sportsman blames their tools? This is kind of what this feels like a little bit.
Anyway, moving on from what you said, I was really excited to try to draw an environment. And in fact, that's been my focus this whole entire week, has been drawing environments. It's new to me, but I was inspired, Ben. Inspired!
Inspired?
Ask me what I was inspired by.
What were you inspired by, Abby?
Van Gogh.
Also, real quick, before I react to your Van Gogh reveal, I like the brush that you're using. It's fun.
Thank you.
And now back. What? Van Gogh?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, so, backing up. Wedding happened recently. Married. Us. Wow. We went on a mini moon, aka honeymoon that lasted 2 days. I
3
planned
days.
us a little trip to Chicago to commemorate the event of our wedding. And while we were there, we got to go to the Chicago Institute of Art.
We did.
And at the Chicago Institute of Art, what did they have?
Lots of art, actually.
Well, what did
but they specifically had a Van Gogh exhibit going on, along with a few other artists there.
And it was fascinating.
It was really good.
I have never been that enthused or interested in Van Gogh. I mean, I've been always like, oh, Starry Night, that's cool. But this exhibit was set up in such a way that we were able to grow with Van Gogh, if you'll allow me to coin that phrase.
Grow with the go.
They had about a span of 4 to 5 years of his works and several of his contemporaries arranged in such a way that you could basically grow with him and watch him improve, and only in landscape pieces. Landscapes, like environments like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not like the bedroom, the famous bedroom, not the Starry
Although they
Night.
did have the bedroom there.
That was in a different section.
Different location.
Not any of his sunflowers. It was just his environment pieces. And there was such a power in studying a simpler type of Van Gogh art. And the power that I took away the most from was, wow, the areas of rest where nothing's happening matter so much more than I possibly could have imagined.
Whoa.
He put so much care into just open expanses of sky. I have since learned that about 60% of any given Van Gogh painting is just background or sky,
Yeah.
which is huge. And so, as you can see here, I'm really trying to, I tried to focus on that pillar and give it the best little brushworks I could. And I intentionally tried to arrange this setting so that I had a lot of just ceiling and wall and not a bunch of little detail. Now, Starbucks, not the worst subject to draw. I just didn't do that good a job with it because, like I said, I'm kind of like starting over. I used to just focus on portraits and objects all the time, and I was getting, sometimes I would make things that I actually liked.
And before that, sometimes they would turn out good randomly.
Yeah,
that's kind of what drawing feels like when we're learning. But before even doing portraits, we were just kind of doing random stuff. We've been on a portrait kick for a long time. This is true.
Portraits, object, animals, but just
all sorts of stuff.
Environments, not so much. So this week,
it does feel like we're, like, in a way, whenever I do an environment, it feels like I'm back at ground zero.
That's exactly how I felt with this. And it feels monumental. You think you've chosen a simple area in front of you, And that's the real fun of this, is the learning process and realizing like even just this ceiling, which has a little drop ceiling piece here, is so much more complex and nuanced than I could have possibly imagined. So what you'll see as I near the end of this eventually is that the details, like little fun things, I don't give them a whole lot of time and love and attention because
they don't deserve it.
And well, they're not, first of all, they're not my focus. I really wanted to focus on the Van Gogh idea of like 60% is rest, essentially. And I don't even have that here. This is definitely not 60% rest.
Yeah.
And the composition is, well, it's not composed. It just is.
It's just a photo, yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, one thing, like, going along with that, I thought it was so interesting to see over the years how a lot of the artists of that time just drew the same things in France. Mm-hmm. They were just northwest. I forget the area, what it was called, but they were just northwest of the Eiffel Tower, and they were all just like painting the same bridge, painting the same restaurant, and they were all painting it from like roughly the same angle and location.
Isn't that beautiful to think about? They were all there shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, you could definitely tell that, like, I mean, it talked about how they were friends, and well, maybe not friends, but they were colleagues. Like, they studied each other's work and like learned from each other, which is so cool to see. You know, that's kind of exactly what we're doing here on Drawbli. You and I, Abby, we're colleagues. We're not necessarily friends, but we're learning from each other in our art.
We're contemporaries.
Wait, what is I thought contemporary just meant modern.
No, a contemporary, when it's referred to in these instances, refers to your contemporaries were the people around you at that time who were similar. You? Perhaps, yeah, maybe you all influence each other. So we saw, what were their other names? Emile,
I don't
Paul
remember.
Seurat. I don't remember either. I should. Sorry, guys. They're famous too. But Van Gogh had the catchy name that was going to sell all the tickets. So even though the exhibit did feature the other artists quite a bit.
There actually was another artist there. It was Paul something. I have a couple.
Seurat?
I'd have to look it up.
He did the pointillism.
He did some pointillism. But he did a lot of different stuff. But I actually liked his work a lot more than Van Gogh's, and it was an artist that I'd never heard of, discovered for the first time. I'll throw up one of his images right here.
Wow, that's a pretty famous painting.
Oh, I thought you were going to do a sound effect. I mean, anytime I say something like that, we get an Abby sound effect. So maybe here's a second image.
Wow.
No sound effect again. Oh my God.
2023, post-wedding. I know, I'm a wife now.
No sound effects. Wives don't do sound effects. Anyway, I really enjoyed this artist's work a lot. There were a lot of cool things going on.
Yeah, no, it was so inspiring to see, like, and that was not my only takeaway either, that 60% should be background and rest and sky. There was so much else, but there was so much else that I couldn't possibly focus on it all at once. So I decided to start small and just say, you know what? Every piece I make from here on out is going to have an intentional focus on the rest area and making sure a good portion of the drawing is resting.
I love how in your reference image you keep zooming in on this guy behind the counter. And you're just like, no, you're not going in my painting. You don't deserve to be in my painting. I
didn't put any people in it. Honestly, I drew most of this without a photo, just at Starbucks. And I took a photo right before we left so that I could reference it to finish it later. But yeah, no, I thought about adding people, but by the time I got to that point where I would have added people, I was ready to be done with this particular piece. We're kind of at a phase right now, I feel like, where we're trying to do about 2 hours per piece, especially in this stage where I think quantity over quality
just
would benefit me more.
Starting with environments.
Yeah, just starting. Spending 1,000,000 hours on the same piece isn't going to benefit me as much as a couple hours per piece.
And this turned out really well. I think this looks super cool. I think we definitely have a lot more to say about the works that we examined, so we'll be probably mentioning that as you continue to explore your environment artwork.
Thank you. Yes, there's so much more to learn, but here are my baby steps into consciously creating a little environment piece, and I am excited to show you how much I grow in the coming week as I keep going on this vein of thinking.
This vein. And if you want to have a vein of thinking, click that like and subscribe button.
And share your work on Instagram with #Drawbli because drawing is better with friends.
And this is the part where we say...
Goodbye.
Goomba.
And I should say, instead of drawing is better with friends, drawing is better with
Contemporaries.
contemporaries.
Ooh, I like it.
It's
I like
fancy.
it. By the way, your environment painting was beautiful. It was
Thank
very
you.
cute, had a lot of style, very fun. Your baby steps were good steps.